Get out. Just wait for the bus here, the woman said, her voice dripping with icy disdain. 3 little girls, only 3 years old, sitting in their wheelchairs at the edge of a deserted suburban street, watched their new stepmother speed away in her luxury car. They were scared, confused, and now completely alone. But what that cruel woman didn't know was that her every move was being watched by the one person she never expected. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. Those broken kids are not my problem. Vanessa's voice echoed from the hallway. I didn't sign up to be a nurse to 3 wheelchair-bound brats. Once we've been married a year, I'll convince him to send them to a special boarding school. Robert Williams froze outside his home office. His heart pounded as he recognized his wife's voice. She was speaking to someone on the phone, unaware he had come upstairs early from his meeting. I know, Sarah. Being married to a billionaire sounds perfect until you realize the package includes 3 disabled children. I just need to stick it out a bit longer. Robert stepped back quietly, his mind racing. The woman speaking couldn't be the same person who smiled for cameras at charity events and told the world how blessed she was to be a stepmother. But it was her voice. His wife of 6 months. The woman he had trusted with his most precious treasures. His daughters. The next morning, Robert woke up at 5 o'clock. He had barely slept, Vanessa's words playing over and over in his mind. She was still asleep in their bedroom as he quietly made his way to the girls' rooms. "Good morning, sunshine," he said, turning on the lamp beside Emma's bed. At 8 years old, the triplets had their own bedrooms. Though they were connected by sliding doors they often left open. Emma rubbed her eyes and smiled. "Morning, Dad. Ready to start the day?" Robert asked, moving to her closet to select clothes. "I want the blue shirt with the stars," Emma said. She was the most analytical of his daughters, always observing everything around her. Robert helped Emma with her morning routine, lifting her carefully from bed to her wheelchair, helping her brush her teeth and get dressed. He had modified the entire mansion to be accessible, with lowered sinks and wide doorways throughout. In the next room, Lily was already awake, quietly drawing in her sketchbook, the most artistic triplet. She expressed herself better through pictures than words. "What are you drawing today?" Robert asked, stroking her chestnut hair. "Our family," Lily whispered, showing him a picture with 4 smiling stick figures in what looked like a garden. "That's beautiful," Robert said, noticing there were only 4 figures. He didn't mention the absence of Vanessa. Sophie, the most outspoken triplet, was calling from her room. "Dad, I'm starving. Is it breakfast time yet?" Robert laughed. "Coming, Sophie. Let's get you ready first." By 6:30, all 3 girls were dressed and in their wheelchairs. Robert pushed them one by one down the hallway to the elevator he had installed when he adopted them 3 years ago. The elevator took them to the first floor of the massive Massachusetts estate. In the kitchen, Mrs. Martinez, their cook, was preparing breakfast. "Good morning, Williams family," she said cheerfully. "I made blueberry pancakes today." "With extra blueberries for me?" Sophie asked hopefully. "Of course, Miss Sophie. Extra blueberries just for you." Robert helped position the girls at the special height-adjusted table. "Mrs. Winters will be here at 9 o'clock for your lessons," he reminded them. "Will you stay for our science experiment?" Lily asked quietly. Robert checked his watch. "I have a video meeting at 10:30, but I'll try to watch the beginning." Emma studied her father's face. "You look tired, Dad. Did you not sleep well?" Robert sometimes forgot how perceptive Emma was. "Just some work things on my mind," he said, not wanting to worry them. The sound of heels clicking on marble announced Vanessa's arrival. Robert's shoulders tensed involuntarily. "Good morning, family," Vanessa said, her smile perfect as always. At 32, the former model was stunning with her tall figure and carefully styled blonde hair. "Morning, Vanessa," the girls mumbled. Robert noticed how their bodies seemed to stiffen slightly. Vanessa poured herself a cup of coffee. I have that charity luncheon today, then spa appointments. I won't be home until dinner. We have physical therapy at 3 o'clock, Emma said. Dad always comes with us. How dedicated, Vanessa said, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. Robert, don't forget we have the Hendersons' gala this weekend. I remember, Robert said, watching how she barely looked at the girls. Had he been blind to this all along? After breakfast, Robert helped the girls to their classroom, a large converted sunroom with views of the garden. Mrs. Winters, their 68-year-old tutor, arrived precisely at 9 o'clock. Good morning, my brilliant students, Mrs. Winters said, her gray hair in its usual neat bun. And good morning, Mr. Williams. Eleanor, thank you for coming. I have a meeting, but I'll join for the science experiment if I can. Of course, Mrs. Winters said. We're studying simple machines today. Robert headed to his home office, his thoughts still troubled by what he had overheard. At 10 o'clock, his phone rang. Robert, are we still on for dinner tonight? It was Marcus Chen, his oldest friend and business partner. Yes, please come. I need to talk to you about something. Everything okay? You sound stressed. I'll tell you tonight, the girls will be happy to see their Uncle Marcus. At 6 o'clock, Marcus arrived. The girls cheered when they saw him enter the dining room. Uncle Marcus! Sophie exclaimed. Did you bring us anything? Sophie! Robert gently scolded, but Marcus laughed. As a matter of fact, I did, Marcus said, pulling 3 small packages from his bag. New books for my favorite readers. After dinner, while the girls watched a movie with Mrs. Winters, Robert led Marcus to his office. What's going on? Marcus asked. You've been distracted all evening. Robert poured 2 glasses of water and sat heavily in his chair. It's Vanessa. What about her? I overheard her on the phone yesterday, the things she said about the girls. Robert's voice cracked slightly. What did she say? Marcus asked, leaning forward. Robert repeated the conversation, each word painful to speak aloud. Marcus sighed. I hate to say this, but I'm not surprised. I've seen how she looks at the girls when she thinks no one is watching. What? Why didn't you say something? I tried subtly, but you were so happy, Robert. After years of being alone, focusing on work and then the girls, you deserved some happiness. Robert shook his head. The girls deserve better than someone who sees them as broken. What are you going to do? Before Robert could answer, there was a knock at the door. Vanessa entered, looking elegant in her evening dress. The Millers called. They're having a last-minute dinner party and wanted us to come, she said. I'm spending time with Marcus and the girls tonight, Robert replied. Vanessa's smile tightened. It would be good for your business connections. Not tonight, Vanessa. After she left, Marcus asked, Have you noticed she never schedules anything when the girls have therapy or doctor appointments? But she's always available for social events that might advance her status? Robert nodded slowly. I've been a fool. No, Marcus said. You're a good man who wanted to believe in someone, so what now? Robert stared out the window at the darkening sky. I need to know for sure. I need to test her to see what she would really do if pushed. Test her how? I'm not sure yet, but I need to protect my daughters. They've already lost so much. I won't let them live with someone who sees them as burdens. From the hallway came the sound of wheels on hardwood. Dad? Emma called. The movie's over. Can you help us get ready for bed? Coming, sweetheart, Robert called, standing up. To Marcus, he said, Stay the night, we'll talk more after they're asleep. As Robert helped each daughter with their nighttime routine, he looked at their trusting faces. Emma with her thoughtful eyes, Lily with her gentle smile, Sophie with her determined expression. 3 perfect girls who had already faced more challenges than most people do in a lifetime. Dad, are you sad? You? Lily asked as he tucked her blanket around her. No, sweetheart. I'm just thinking about how much I love you 3. We love you too, Daddy, Sophie said from her bed across the room. Forever and always? Robert asked, their nightly ritual. Forever and always, all three girls answered. Later, as Robert returned to his office where Marcus waited, his mind was clear. He would do whatever it took to protect his daughters, even if it meant testing the true character of the woman he had married. What he didn't know was just how revealing that test would be. Robert closed the door to his office and turned to Marcus, determination replacing the shock and hurt that had filled him for the past several hours. "I need to know what Vanessa would do if our situation changed dramatically," Robert said, sitting down at his desk. "If she truly loves this family, or just the lifestyle." Marcus leaned forward. "What are you thinking?" "I'm going to tell her we've lost everything. That my company is facing a complete collapse." Robert picked up his phone and dialed. "Diana, I need you at the house right away. It's urgent." Within 45 minutes, Diana Washington arrived. As the head of security for Robert's company and a former police officer, her presence was commanding even in casual clothes at 11:30 at night. "What's the emergency?" Diana asked, her eyes alert as she entered Robert's office. Robert explained what he had overheard and his plan to test Vanessa's true character. "I want to tell her that we've lost everything, that we'll need to move out of the mansion, let the staff go and—" His voice faltered. "Temporarily place the girls somewhere else." "You want to see if she abandons them?" Diana stated plainly. "Yes. I need to know what she's capable of." Marcus shook his head. "It's risky, Robert. What if she actually leaves them somewhere?" "That's where Diana comes in. I want a full surveillance team. Track Vanessa's car, follow at a distance, document everything. The girls will have tracking devices. I won't let them be in any real danger." Diana nodded. "We can handle that. But are you sure about involving the girls? They'll be frightened." Robert's face showed his internal struggle. "I know, that's the hardest part. But if Vanessa is planning to convince me to send them away anyway, isn't it better they face one difficult day now rather than being slowly pushed out of their home by someone who resents them?" They spent the next 2 hours planning every detail. Diana would assemble her team by morning. Marcus would handle the business side, making the story of financial collapse believable. "I'll tell her about a catastrophic security breach," Robert said. "That our systems were compromised, assets frozen, and we're facing bankruptcy." Before leaving, Diana asked, "What address will you give Vanessa for dropping off the girls?" "The community center on Oak Ridge Drive. Your team will be waiting there." "And if she doesn't go there?" "That's what I need to know," Robert said quietly. After Marcus and Diana left, Robert went to each of the girls' rooms. He carefully placed small tracking devices in their favorite stuffed animals and in the backpacks he would have Vanessa pack for them. As he worked, he fought back tears, praying he was doing the right thing. Morning came too quickly. Robert had barely slept, rehearsing what he would say. At breakfast, he deliberately appeared distracted and worried. "Dad, you spilled your coffee," Emma pointed out. "Sorry, just thinking about work," Robert mumbled, cleaning up the spill. Vanessa entered, perfectly dressed as always. "Robert, don't forget we have dinner with the Morgensterns tonight. Actually, I need to speak with you in my office after breakfast. Something's come up." An hour later, after helping the girls start their morning lessons with Mrs. Winters, Robert led Vanessa to his office. Diana had confirmed her team was in position. "What's going on?" Vanessa asked, noting Robert's serious expression. Robert took a deep breath. "There's been a catastrophic security breach at the company. All our systems were compromised last night. Our assets are frozen." "What does that mean exactly?" Vanessa's voice was sharp. "It means we're facing bankruptcy. We need to let the staff go immediately. The bank will seize the mansion within days." Vanessa's perfect composure slipped. "That's impossible. You're worth billions." "Not anymore. The attack targeted everything. We need to move to a small apartment I own in the city until this is sorted out." Robert paused, watching her carefully. "And the girls?" "We need to temporarily place them at Pine Grove State Facility." "A state facility? For how long? I don't know, weeks, maybe months. Robert handed her a piece of paper. Here's the address. I need you to take them there today while I meet with the lawyers. Vanessa stared at the paper, then at Robert. He could see the calculations happening behind her eyes. You want me to tell them? She asked. We'll tell them together, that we've lost everything and need to make temporary arrangements. The transformation in Vanessa was immediate. Her perfectly maintained smile vanished, replaced by thinly veiled anger. I'll pack their things, she said flatly. Robert followed her to the girls' rooms. Watching as she roughly pulled small suitcases from their closets, she grabbed only the most basic clothes, ignoring the special comfort items each girl treasured. They'll need their medication, Robert reminded her, deliberately testing how much attention she'd paid to their care. Right. Where is it kept? In the kitchen cabinet, labeled for each girl. Robert felt sick. She'd lived with them for 6 months and didn't even know where their essential medication was stored. When they told the girls, their confusion and fear broke Robert's heart. But why can't we stay together? Sophie asked, tears in her eyes. It's just temporary, Robert assured them, kneeling beside their wheelchairs. I promise I'll come get you as soon as I can. I want to call you, Emma said, reaching for her specialized phone. Vanessa quickly took it. We need to save the battery. You can call your father when you get settled. As Vanessa loaded the wheelchairs into her luxury SUV, Robert noticed how carelessly she handled them, nearly pinching Lily's fingers in the process. I'll come as soon as I finish with the lawyers, Robert told the girls, kissing each one goodbye. I love you. Remember that. Forever and always, Lily whispered, her voice trembling. Forever and always, Robert replied, his voice breaking. As Vanessa drove away with his daughters, Robert rushed to his rental car parked down the street. Diana's voice came through his earpiece. We're following, boss. Team is in position. Robert started the engine, his hands shaking. He was about to pull out when he saw Mrs. Winters running toward his car. Mr. Williams, she called, her face flushed. What's happening? The girls were crying when they left. Robert quickly explained his plan. Mrs. Winters' initial shock turned to understanding. You've suspected something wasn't right with her for weeks, haven't you? She asked. Yes, Marcus did too. What can I do to help? Call Marcus. Tell him we're in motion. Then go back to the house and prepare the girls' favorite foods and comfort items. They'll need them when they return. As Mrs. Winters hurried away, Robert followed the tracking signal from his daughter's backpacks. To his alarm, Vanessa wasn't heading toward the Oak Ridge Community Center. Diana, she's going west instead of north, Robert said into his earpiece. Confirmed. We're still following. No need to worry yet, she might be taking an alternate route. But as Vanessa continued driving in the wrong direction, Robert felt a chill. In the rush of planning, he'd never truly believed she would deviate from his instructions. Now he realized he might have underestimated just how cold Vanessa truly was. She's heading toward Bridgeport, Diana reported. It's a struggling neighborhood. Robert gripped the steering wheel tighter. What was Vanessa planning? Whatever it was, he now understood with terrible clarity that his daughters were in the hands of someone who saw them as nothing but burdens to be discarded. Keep visual contact, Robert instructed Diana's team. I'm right behind you. The SUV turned onto a street lined with closed businesses and empty lots. Robert held his breath as Vanessa finally stopped beside a shuttered convenience store. From his position half a block away, he could see her getting out of the car. What happened next would reveal exactly who Vanessa Carter Williams truly was. Robert watched from his car as Vanessa opened the back door of her SUV. Inside, the triplets looked confused and frightened. "Why are we stopping here?" Sophie asked, looking around at the empty street with closed shops and broken streetlights. "This isn't a facility." Vanessa's voice was cold. "There's been a change of plans." She roughly pulled the first wheelchair from the back of the SUV and unfolded it on the cracked sidewalk. Then she grabbed Emma under the arms and placed her in it, without gentleness. "You're hurting me," Emma said quietly. Vanessa ignored her, Returning to get Lily's wheelchair one by one, she placed all 3 girls on the sidewalk beside a boarded-up convenience store. The street was nearly deserted, with only a few people walking far down the block. "Where are we?" Lily whispered, her voice shaking. Vanessa tossed their small backpacks onto the ground next to them. "Your father is broke now," she said, her beautiful face twisted with anger. "He can't take care of you anymore, and neither can I." Sophie's eyes widened. "But Dad said he would come get us at the facility." "There is no facility," Vanessa snapped. That was a lie. Emma reached for her sister's hands. "Please don't leave us here. We're scared." "You're not my problem anymore." Vanessa got back into her SUV. "Someone will find you eventually." Before the shocked girls could respond, Vanessa slammed the door and started the engine. The SUV pulled away quickly, leaving the 3 8-year-old girls alone on the empty street. From his position down the block, Robert gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. He watched through tears as Vanessa drove away. Without a backward glance, Diana's voice came through his earpiece. "We got it all on video, sir. Do you want us to intercept her?" "No," Robert said, his voice tight with rage and pain. "Let her go. Keep tracking her. I need to document this abandonment fully." On the sidewalk, the triplets huddled their wheelchairs together in a small circle. "What do we do?" Emma asked, trying to be practical, even as tears ran down her face. Lily didn't respond at all. Her face had gone blank, and she curled into herself, retreating into silence. Her sisters recognized the sign. Lily always withdrew when she was most afraid. Sophie, always the most outspoken, tried to flag down a woman walking on the other side of the street. "Excuse me, we need help!" The woman glanced at them, then hurried away faster. "They think we're homeless," Emma said quietly. "Check your backpacks. Maybe Dad put a phone in there." The girls searched through the small bags Vanessa had packed. There were a few clothes, but nothing useful. No phone, no money, no note from their father. "Dad wouldn't send us away," Sophie insisted, her voice breaking. "He promised forever and always." In his car, Robert watched through his camera lens, documenting everything. Diana's team was in unmarked vehicles nearby, ready to intervene if anyone approached the girls. Robert had planned to let the situation continue for 30 minutes, long enough to fully document Vanessa's abandonment, but not long enough to truly endanger the girls. But after watching his daughters for just 15 minutes, seeing Lily's complete shutdown, Emma's desperate attempts to think of a solution, and Sophie's failed efforts to get help from passers-by, he couldn't wait any longer. "I'm going in," he told Diana. "Keep tracking Vanessa." Robert drove his rental car up to the curb where the girls waited. When they saw him, their reactions broke his heart all over again. Sophie screamed, "Daddy!" while Emma burst into fresh tears. Lily didn't react at all, still curled into herself, eyes unfocused. He jumped from the car and ran to them, gathering all 3 into his arms as best he could. "I'm here. You're safe," he repeated over and over. "I'm so sorry. I'm here now." "She left us," Sophie sobbed. "Vanessa just left us here." "I know," Robert said, stroking her hair. "I saw everything." Emma pulled back, her analytical mind working despite her tears. "You saw? You were watching us?" Robert nodded, kneeling before their wheelchairs. "I had to know what she would really do if she thought we lost our money. I had to see her true character." "It was a test?" Emma asked. "Yes. I overheard her on the phone saying terrible things about you girls. I needed to know the truth before I could protect you from her." Sophie was angry now. "You let us be scared. You let her take us." "I know, sweetheart, and I'm so sorry. I was watching the whole time. There were security people all around you. You were never really in danger." Robert looked at Lily, who still hadn't spoken or acknowledged his presence. "Lily? Can you hear me?" Lily didn't respond. Her eyes remained unfocused, her body curled inward. "She's gone away inside," Emma explained, like after the accident. Robert gently lifted Lily from her wheelchair and held her close. Let's go home. We'll talk more there. He carefully loaded the girls and their wheelchairs into his car. Diana approached from her surveillance position. We're still tracking Vanessa, she said. She's heading back to the mansion. Let her, Robert replied. I'll deal with her when we get home. During the drive back, Sophie and Emma sat quietly in the back seat. Lily remained silent in her wheelchair, staring at nothing. Robert called ahead to Marcus. We're coming home, he said. The test worked, but the results were worse than I imagined. Is Mrs. Winters there? Yes, Marcus replied. She's prepared everything. How are the girls? Traumatized. Lily has shut down completely. At the mansion, Mrs. Winters and Marcus were waiting at the entrance. Mrs. Winters gasped when she saw Lily's condition. Oh, the poor dear, she said, tears in her eyes. Bring them inside quickly. The elderly tutor had prepared the girls' favorite foods and set up a cozy space in the family room with soft blankets and their beloved books and toys. As Robert wheeled the girls inside, Mrs. Winters knelt before them. My brave girls, she said gently. I made your favorite hot chocolate with extra marshmallows. Did you know too? Sophie asked accusingly. Mrs. Winters shook her head. Not until after you had left. Your father had to know the truth about Vanessa. Emma looked at Robert. Is she coming back here? Yes, Robert said, but not for long. She thinks I don't know what she did. Marcus stepped forward. Diana just called. Vanessa is 10 minutes away. Robert knelt before his daughters. I need you girls to go upstairs with Mrs. Winters while I talk to Vanessa. Can you do that for me? Sophie and Emma nodded reluctantly. Lily still hadn't spoken. Will you make her leave forever? Sophie asked. Yes, Robert promised. She will never hurt you again. Mrs. Winters gently wheeled the girls toward the elevator. Let's have our hot chocolate upstairs in Emma's room. We can build a fort with blankets. When they were gone, Robert turned to Marcus. I want the security footage ready to show her, and I want Diana here when I confront her. She's on her way in, Marcus confirmed. What do you think Vanessa will say? She'll lie. She'll claim she took them to Pine Grove as instructed. Robert's voice hardened. But I have video evidence of what really happened. They heard the sound of a car pulling into the driveway. Through the window, they saw Vanessa's SUV. She stepped out looking completely untroubled, checking her makeup in her compact mirror before walking toward the house. She abandoned my daughters on a street corner, Robert said, watching her approach. She left 3 disabled 8-year-old girls alone to fend for themselves, and now she's checking her lipstick. Diana entered through a side door, nodding to Robert. We have everything documented, sir. The front door opened and Vanessa walked in. She stopped short when she saw the 3 of them standing in the foyer. Robert, I thought you were meeting with lawyers. Her voice held just the right amount of concern, but her eyes darted around, looking for escape routes. Where are my daughters, Vanessa? Robert asked calmly. Vanessa's face arranged itself into a perfect mask of compassion. At Pine Grove, of course it was so hard to leave them, but they understood it was just temporary. Robert took out his phone. Are you sure about that? The color drained from Vanessa's perfect face as Robert held up his phone and pressed play on the screen. Clear video showed her abandoning the triplets on the street, her cold words perfectly audible. You're not my problem anymore. Vanessa's face contorted with rage as she watched the video. Her mask of compassion disappeared completely. You set me up, she hissed, her voice barely above a whisper. Robert put his phone away calmly. No, Vanessa. I gave you a chance to prove who you really are. You lied about losing everything. Yes, Robert admitted. And you showed me exactly what you would do if we lost our money. You abandoned 3 disabled children on a street corner. Diana stepped forward, her stance professional but threatening. Mrs. Williams, I have the complete video documentation of your actions today. including audio of you stating the children were not your problem anymore?" Vanessa's eyes darted between them, calculating. "It was a moment of stress. You manipulated me into a terrible situation." "A moment of stress?" Robert's voice rose slightly. "Most people under stress don't abandon children to danger. They protect them." Marcus handed Robert a folder. "The divorce papers are ready. We filed them this afternoon with the evidence of child endangerment." "Divorce?" Vanessa's eyes widened. "You can't do this." "My company is stronger than ever," Robert said. "There was no security breach, no bankruptcy, just a test of character that you failed in the worst possible way." Vanessa lunged toward Robert, but Diana stepped between them. "Mrs. Williams, I need you to come with me now. You can collect your personal items under supervision, then you'll be escorted from the property." "This is my home!" Vanessa screamed. "Not anymore," Robert said. "The prenuptial agreement is very clear about child endangerment." Vanessa's beautiful face twisted with hate. "Those crippled brats? This is about them. It's always been about them." "Yes," Robert agreed. "It has always been about them, my daughters, the 3 amazing girls you saw as burdens." Diana took Vanessa's arm firmly. "Let's go. Your sister has been called to pick you up at the gate." As Diana led a struggling Vanessa toward the stairs, the former model shouted back at Robert, "You'll regret this. Nobody discards me. I'll destroy you." Robert turned to Marcus when Vanessa was out of earshot. "Have the locks changed immediately. Update all security protocols." "Already in progress," Marcus assured him. "How are the girls?" "Traumatized. Lily has completely shut down." "Should I call Dr. Morgan? She specializes in childhood trauma." Robert nodded. "Yes. Ask if she can come tonight. I don't want to wait." Upstairs, Robert found Mrs. Winters sitting outside Emma's bedroom door. "They finally fell asleep," she whispered, "all 3 together in Emma's bed. They refused to be separated." "How is Lily?" Still not speaking. She responded to touch and nodded yes or no, but no words. Robert looked through the partially open door at his daughters. They were curled together in Emma's large bed, their wheelchairs lined up beside it. Even in sleep, they held hands. "I've made arrangements for you to stay in the guest suite tonight," Robert told Mrs. Winters. "If you're willing." "Of course. Those girls need stability right now." "Thank you." Robert squeezed her hand gratefully. "Dr. Morgan is coming to help them process this trauma." 2 hours later, Dr. Rachel Morgan arrived. She was a calm woman in her early 40s with kind eyes and a gentle voice. "I've reviewed the situation, Mr. Williams," she said as they spoke in his office. "Child abandonment creates deep psychological wounds, especially for children who have already experienced loss." "Their parents died 3 years ago," Robert explained. "The same accident that left them paraplegic." Dr. Morgan nodded. "Multiple traumas compound each other. Lily's selective mutism is a protective response. She's retreated to a place where she feels safe. How do I help them? Be present. Be consistent. Keep their routines as normal as possible." Dr. Morgan set a folder on his desk. "I've outlined a therapy schedule. I recommend daily sessions initially." A soft cry from upstairs interrupted them. Robert was on his feet immediately. "Emma has nightmares," he explained, hurrying toward the stairs. In Emma's room, Robert found all 3 girls awake. Emma was trembling, her face wet with tears. Sophie was trying to comfort her. Lily sat silently, eyes wide with fear. "Daddy!" Emma cried when she saw him. "I dreamed Vanessa came back and took us away." Robert sat on the edge of the bed and gathered Emma into his arms. "That will never happen. Vanessa is gone forever." "Promise?" Sophie asked, her usually confident voice small. "I promise. No one will ever take you away from me." Dr. Morgan appeared in the doorway. Robert gestured for her to enter. "Girls, this is Dr. Morgan. She's here to help us talk about what happened today." "Another doctor?" Sophie asked suspiciously. not a medical doctor," Dr. Morgan explained, sitting in a chair near the bed. "I help people with their feelings when scary things happen." "Like being left on a street?" Emma asked. "Yes, like that." "Lily won't talk," Sophie said. "She stopped after Vanessa left us." Dr. Morgan smiled gently at Lily. "That's okay. Lily can talk when she feels ready. There are other ways to share feelings." For the next hour, Dr. Morgan led a gentle session. She brought special cards with pictures of emotions that the girls could point to. She had them draw pictures of their experience. Emma drew 3 small figures in wheelchairs surrounded by darkness. Sophie drew a monster driving away in a car. Lily didn't draw anything, but she held tightly to her sister's hands. After Dr. Morgan left with plans to return in the morning, Robert helped the girls get comfortable again. "Can we sleep in your room?" Sophie asked. "Of course," Robert agreed immediately. He carried each girl one by one to his large bedroom, then brought their wheelchairs. It took time to get them settled with their medications and comfort items, but eventually all 3 were in his bed with Robert in a chair beside them. "Dad?" Emma said quietly as they were falling asleep. "Why did you marry her?" Robert's heart broke at the simple question. "I thought she was kind and loving. I was wrong, and I'm so sorry I brought her into our home." "You didn't know she was mean inside," Sophie said. "No, but I should have seen the signs." "Like what?" Emma asked. "She never wanted to attend your therapy sessions. She scheduled activities when you were with your doctors. Uncle Marcus noticed, but I didn't listen to him." The girls were quiet for a moment. "Are we safe now?" Sophie finally asked. "Yes, Diana has security watching the house. Vanessa can't come back." Eventually, the girls fell asleep, but Robert remained awake, watching over them. Around midnight, his phone buzzed with a text message from Marcus, "Turn on your computer, now." Robert carefully moved to his desk across the room and opened his laptop. Marcus had sent a link to a tabloid website. The headline made Robert's blood run cold. "Tech billionaire stages cruel test to discard trophy wife." Below was a picture of Vanessa looking tearful and vulnerable, alongside a photo of Robert and the girls from a charity event last month. Robert quickly scanned the article. Vanessa claimed she had been emotionally abused and manipulated. She said Robert had orchestrated an elaborate scenario to trick her into looking bad so he could divorce her without a settlement. "She has gone to the media with her own version," Diana texted. "Multiple outlets, we need to respond." Robert looked back at his sleeping daughters. The battle he thought was over had just begun, and now it would be fought in public. He hadn't anticipated Vanessa would turn the situation around so quickly. He had evidence of her abandonment, but she had the power of a sympathetic story. A beautiful younger woman discarded by a controlling billionaire. His phone buzzed again. This time it was an email notification from his lawyer. "Anonymous tip called in to Child Protective Services. They've opened an investigation into your parenting agent. Will contact you tomorrow." Robert felt a chill run through him. Vanessa was not just fighting for money, she was striking at what mattered most to him, his daughters. The 3 girls he had promised to protect were now at the center of a storm he had inadvertently created. As Emma whimpered in her sleep, reaching out for her sisters, Robert made a silent vow. He would fight with everything he had to protect them, no matter what Vanessa threw at them next. Morning light streamed through the bedroom windows as Robert awoke in the chair beside his bed. All 3 girls were still asleep, their faces peaceful for the first time since yesterday's trauma. His phone buzzed quietly. It was Marcus. "Turn on the TV," Marcus said when Robert answered. "Channel 7. Robert carefully moved to the television in his bedroom and turned it on with the volume low. A morning show host was speaking with serious concern on her face. Billionaire Robert Williams allegedly staged an elaborate deception, convincing his wife their fortune was gone in order to create grounds for divorce. Joining us is Gloria Reynolds, spokesperson for Vanessa Carter Williams. The camera cut to a polished woman in her 50s. My client is devastated. Mr. Williams manipulated her and placed his adopted children in a dangerous situation just to trap her. This was calculated emotional abuse. Robert turned off the TV as Emma stirred in the bed. "Dad?" she called sleepily. "I'm here, sweetheart," Robert said, returning to her side. "Are we going to school today?" Robert hesitated. "Not today. Mrs. Winters will teach you here at home." By 9 o'clock, all three girls were dressed and in their wheelchairs. Lily remained silent, communicating only through nods and head shakes. Dr. Morgan arrived for their morning therapy session while Robert met with his legal team in his office. "The story is in every major outlet," James Whitman, his attorney, explained. "Vanessa has hired Gloria Reynolds as her spokesperson. Reynolds specializes in character assassination during high-profile divorces. We have video evidence of her abandonment," Robert said. "Yes, but she's claiming you manipulated and coerced her, that you're using your wealth and power against her." James handed Robert a document. "Child Protective Services will be here at 11 o'clock. "So soon?" "Anonymous tips about billionaires get fast responses," James said grimly. Diana entered the office. Security footage shows 2 news vans parked at the gate. Several reporters attempted to enter the property but were turned away. At precisely 11 o'clock, Karen Daniels from Child Protective Services arrived. She was a serious woman in her 40s with a clipboard and a no-nonsense attitude. "Mr. Williams, I need to speak with you, and then with each of the children separately," she said after introductions. "My daughters are traumatized," Robert explained. "One isn't speaking at all. They're with their therapist right now. I understand, but I need to conduct my investigation. We received a report that you used your children as pawns in a marital dispute, placing them in danger." "That's not what happened," Robert said firmly. "Then tell me what did happen." For the next hour, Robert explained everything from overhearing Vanessa's phone call to the test and its aftermath. Karen took detailed notes. "I need to see the video evidence," she said when he finished. After viewing the footage of Vanessa abandoning the girls, Karen's expression remained professional but slightly softened. "Now I need to speak with each child," she said. Robert led her to the sunroom where the girls had finished their therapy session. Dr. Morgan pulled him aside. "Who is this?" she asked quietly. "CPS. Someone made an anonymous report." Dr. Morgan's eyes widened. "The girls are extremely fragile right now. Emma had a panic attack just talking about yesterday. Lily still isn't speaking." "I know, but we have to cooperate." Robert introduced Karen to the girls, explaining she needed to ask them questions. He stayed while she interviewed Sophie first. "Did your dad tell you why he let Vanessa take you away yesterday?" Karen asked. Sophie straightened in her wheelchair. "He needed to know if she was mean for real or just pretending to be nice." "Were you scared?" "Yes. She left us all alone on a street. But Dad was watching. He came and got us." "Did your dad ever hurt you or Vanessa?" Sophie looked shocked. "No, Dad never hurts anyone. He's the kindest person ever." Emma's interview was more difficult. She began breathing rapidly when asked about being left on the street. "I couldn't protect my sisters," she gasped. "People walked by and ignored us." Dr. Morgan had to intervene when Emma became too distressed. Lily's interview was the shortest. She stared at Karen without speaking, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Lily hasn't spoken since the incident," Robert explained. "Dr. Morgan is working with her." After the interviews, Karen spoke privately with Robert. "I need to continue my investigation," she said. "In cases like this, we sometimes recommend a formal custody evaluation." "You think I'm an unfit father?" Robert couldn't hide his shock. "I didn't say that, but you admitted to creating a situation that frightened your children severely. To protect them from someone who wanted to send them away." Karen's expression remained neutral. "I'll be in touch, Mr. Williams." After she left, Robert received another troubling call from Diana. The school called. Several reporters were there asking questions about the girls. "The principal is concerned. We'll keep them home for now," Robert decided. That afternoon, Marcus arrived with more news. Vanessa has hired Blake Thompson as her divorce attorney. He specializes in getting huge settlements from wealthy men. "I have a solid prenuptial agreement," Robert said. "Thompson is known for finding loopholes, and the publicity campaign is already working." Marcus showed Robert his tablet. "Look at these comments online." Robert scrolled through comments calling him a controlling monster and abusive billionaire. Others suggested he used his money to buy his daughters and was now discarding his wife. "People are believing her," Robert said in disbelief. "Some are, others are supporting you." Marcus scrolled to different comments defending Robert as a dedicated father. A scream from outside interrupted them. Robert ran to the window and saw a photographer climbing over the garden wall. Sophie and Emma were outside with Mrs. Winters for their afternoon sunshine. The photographer was taking pictures rapidly. Robert rushed outside as security guards ran toward the intruder. The photographer saw Robert and called out, "Is it true you're losing custody, Williams? Did you endanger your kids to dump your wife?" Lily, who had been sitting quietly in her wheelchair, startled at the shouting. She tried to wheel herself away quickly, caught her wheel on a garden brick, and tipped sideways out of her chair. "Lily!" Robert shouted, running to her. He scooped her up as she began to cry silently, tears streaming down her face. Security caught the photographer who kept snapping pictures. Perfect shot. Billionaire's disabled daughter falls while he rages at press. The next morning, that exact photo was on the front page of several tabloids with different headlines. Protective father shields injured daughter from invasive paparazzi. Unstable billionaire loses control as custody battle looms. Dr. Morgan arrived early, concerned about the incident. "The girls need to be protected from this media circus," she said. "They're showing increasing signs of trauma." "I'm trying," Robert said, his voice strained. "But Vanessa is determined to destroy us." That evening, after finally getting the girls to sleep in his bedroom again, Robert sat alone in his office. The walls seemed to be closing in. His phone rang. James Whitman. "Bad news," his attorney said. "Thompson has filed for an emergency hearing about custody. He's claiming your test of Vanessa showed reckless disregard for your daughter's safety." Robert put his head in his hands. Could I really lose them over this? It's a long shot, but Thompson is good at manipulating public opinion to pressure judges. After hanging up, Robert stared at a framed photo on his desk, the triplets on the day their adoption was finalized. Their smiles were so bright, so trusting. He had promised to protect them, but now his actions had placed them in the center of a public battle. His computer pinged with an email notification. It was from Vanessa, the first direct contact since her removal from the mansion. "Give me what I want, and this all goes away. Fight me, and everyone will see what kind of father you really are. You have 24 hours to respond." Robert felt cold anger replace his despair. Vanessa thought she could threaten him into submission. She didn't understand that when it came to his daughters, he would never surrender. Robert deleted Vanessa's email and picked up his phone. No more hiding, no more reacting. It was time to fight back. "Marcus," he said when his friend answered, "I need everyone here at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. James, Diana, and find me the best PR specialist in Boston." "Already on it," Marcus replied. "Olivia Martinez. She specializes in crisis management for high-profile clients. Get her here too." The next morning, Robert's crisis team gathered in his home office while Mrs. Winters supervised the girls' breakfast. Olivia Martinez was a focused woman in her late 30s with sharp eyes and a tablet full of notes. "First, we need to understand what we're up against," Robert began. "Vanessa has the public feeling sorry for her as the discarded younger wife. She has Gloria Reynolds spinning stories and Blake Thompson filing legal motions." James Whitman nodded. "Thompson has requested an emergency custody hearing. We have 3 days to prepare." "We need to change our approach," Olivia said. "Right now you're hiding, which makes you look guilty. We need to control the narrative." "How?" Robert asked. One carefully selected interview with a respected journalist. Someone known for fairness, not sensationalism. I recommend Patricia Reynolds from National Morning. She's tough, Marcus warned. Good, Robert said. I want someone who will ask the hard questions. That will seem more honest. Diana opened her laptop. I have new information about Vanessa. My team found her internet search history. 6 weeks ago, she searched fastest way to divorce a wealthy spouse and child abandonment laws in Massachusetts. 6 weeks ago? Robert was shocked. That's before I even overheard her phone call. There's more, Diana continued. She consulted with Blake Thompson 3 times before the incident phone records show calls to his office. She was planning to leave all along, Marcus realized. Olivia took notes rapidly. This changes everything. She wasn't an innocent victim of your test. She had already decided to leave and was researching how to get the most money possible. We need to tell the girls something, Robert said. They deserve to know why I did what I did. After the strategy meeting, Robert found the triplets in the sunroom with Mrs. Winters. Lily still wasn't speaking, but she was drawing again. Dark pictures of 3 small figures alone. Girls, Robert said, sitting down at their level. I need to talk to you about why I let Vanessa take you that day. Emma looked up from her book. Because you needed to know if she was mean? Yes, I overheard her talking to her sister on the phone. She said terrible things about you, that you were burdens, and she wanted to send you away to a boarding school. Sophie's eyes widened. She wanted to get rid of us? Yes, but I needed proof. I needed to know what she would really do if she thought we lost our money. Robert took a deep breath. I'm so sorry I scared you. I never thought she would leave you on that street. I thought she would complain or be angry, but still take you to the address I gave her. You were watching us the whole time? Emma asked. Yes. Diana's security team was there too. You were never really alone, even though it felt that way. Why is she on TV saying mean things about you? Sophie asked. Because she's angry that her plan didn't work. She wanted to marry me for money, then get more money by divorcing me. Lily suddenly pushed a drawing toward Robert. It showed a dark figure standing over 3 small wheelchair figures. The dark figure had sharp teeth. Is this how you see Vanessa? Robert asked gently. Lily nodded, her eyes serious. She can't hurt you anymore, Robert promised, and I'm going to tell everyone the truth. The next morning, Patricia Reynolds arrived at the mansion with a small camera crew. She was a respected journalist in her 50s with a reputation for tough but fair interviews. Before we begin, Mr. Williams, I want to understand what you hope to accomplish, Patricia said as they sat in the living room. I want to tell the truth, Robert replied. I made a mistake in how I tested Vanessa, but her actions were her own choice. And your daughters? Will they be part of this? No. They've been through enough. They'll stay upstairs with their tutor. The interview began with Patricia asking directly about the test. You created an elaborate deception for your wife. Why? Robert explained, hearing Vanessa's phone call and his growing concerns about her behavior toward the girls. I needed to know what she would really do if our circumstances changed, if she truly cared about my daughters or just our lifestyle. But you used your children in this test, Patricia pressed. They were frightened, yes, and that's my greatest regret. I never imagined she would abandon them on a street corner. I thought at worst she would complain or refuse to take them to the facility. Patricia leaned forward. Do you have evidence of this abandonment? Yes. Robert nodded to Diana, who provided Patricia with a tablet showing the video. Patricia watched silently, her expression growing more troubled. This is disturbing. She literally left 3 wheelchair-bound children alone on a deserted street. While telling them they weren't her problem anymore, Robert added quietly. The interview continued with questions about Vanessa's claims of manipulation. She says you trapped her, that this was all designed to avoid a fair divorce settlement. That's not true, Robert said. and we have evidence she was planning to leave before any of this happened. Diana presented Patricia with documents showing Vanessa's internet searches and phone records. She researched divorce strategies and abandonment laws weeks before I tested her, Robert explained. She had already consulted with her current attorney. As the interview concluded, Patricia asked the question that had been circulating online. Do you regret your methods in exposing your wife's true character? Robert looked directly into the camera. I regret the pain it caused my daughters. They've already experienced too much loss and trauma in their young lives, but I don't regret learning the truth about someone who saw them as burdens to be discarded. No child deserves to live with someone who resents them for existing. After Patricia left, promising the interview would air the next morning, Robert checked social media. The hashtag #, Vanessa the Abandoner, was already trending after someone leaked part of the abandonment video. The following day, the family gathered to watch Patricia's interview. It was fair, but devastating to Vanessa's claims. Patricia closed the segment by saying, I've reviewed the unedited footage of this abandonment. Whatever led to this moment, the choice to leave 3 disabled children alone on a deserted street shows clear premeditation and callous disregard for their safety. Within hours, public opinion began shifting. The hashtag I stand with the Williams girls trended nationwide. By that afternoon, Karen Daniels from CPS called, Mr. Williams, I've seen the new evidence. While we still have concerns about your judgment in involving the children, we're now focusing more on Mrs. Carter Williams's actions. Later, James Whitman arrived with news. Thompson has withdrawn the emergency custody petition, he said, but they're still pursuing a massive financial settlement. On what grounds? Robert asked. Emotional distress, public humiliation, various claims of psychological manipulation. They're asking for $50 million? Robert shook his head. Not a chance. That evening, as he tucked the girls into their own beds for the first time since the incident, though all 3 had asked to sleep in the same room, Emma asked a question. Dad, did you win against Vanessa today? People were nicer to Mrs. Winters at the pharmacy. It's not about winning, sweetheart. It's about making sure the truth is known. Sophie yawned. The truth is she's mean and you're not. Robert smiled. Something like that. He turned to Lily. How are you feeling tonight? To his surprise, Lily whispered, safer. It was the first word she'd spoken in days. Robert's phone buzzed as he left the girls' room. It was Diana. Sir, Vanessa has fired Gloria Reynolds and Blake Thompson. She's hired someone new, Elliot Graves. Who is he? Robert asked. The most aggressive divorce attorney in the country. They call him the scorched earth lawyer. He doesn't just win cases, he destroys opponents. Robert stared at his phone. Elliot Graves? What do we know about him? He's ruthless, Diana replied. He finds secrets people want to keep hidden and uses them in court. We have nothing to hide, Robert said firmly. Tell James to prepare for whatever Graves throws at us. Meanwhile, I want everything you can find on Vanessa's past. The next morning, Diana arrived early with a folder. We've uncovered something interesting. Vanessa Carter isn't her real name. What? Robert looked up from his coffee. She was born Veronica Cartwright in New Haven, Connecticut. She changed her name at 18, and she has a sealed juvenile record. Can we get access to that record? James is working on it. It's difficult, but not impossible. Marcus joined them, looking tired but determined. I've been contacting people from Vanessa's modeling days. Many weren't surprised by what she did to the girls. What did they say? Robert asked. One former roommate said Vanessa used to brag about her billionaire strategy, target wealthy men at charity events, present herself as compassionate and interested in their causes, then secure a prenup-beating settlement. Dr. Morgan arrived for the girls' morning therapy session. Robert brought her up to speed on the legal developments. How are the girls doing? He asked, after explaining about Elliot Graves. Progress is slow but steady, Dr. Morgan said. Emma is starting to express her anger, which is healthy. Lily is communicating more through her drawings. Sophie is channeling her energy constructively. Any suggestions for helping them while this legal battle continues? Keep them in their routine, protect them from media exposure, and most importantly, be honest with them at a level they can understand. In the sunroom, the girls were waiting for their therapy session. Emma had her notebook open, Lily held her sketchbook, and Sophie was talking animatedly. "Dad," Sophie called when she saw Robert. "I had an idea. We should make videos about what it's like to be in a wheelchair. Then people would understand us better." Robert smiled. "That's a wonderful idea. We could record your daily activities." "Not for everyone," Emma clarified quickly. "Just for us, like a diary." "A private video diary," Dr. Morgan nodded. "That could be very healing." Lily held up a drawing. It showed 3 wheelchair figures surrounded by darkness, but now a large figure stood protectively nearby. The darkness didn't reach the figures. "Is that me?" Robert asked gently. Lily nodded, the faintest smile on her face. Later that morning, while the girls worked with Dr. Morgan, Diana called with another discovery. "We found court records from Connecticut." At 17, Vanessa, then Veronica, was involved in a scheme to defraud her elderly neighbor. The record was sealed because she was a minor, but she convinced the neighbor to change her will, naming Veronica as beneficiary. "Did she succeed?" Robert asked. "No." The neighbor's family intervened. Veronica received community service. Shortly after, she changed her name and moved to New York to start modeling. Robert shared this information with James Whitman when the attorney arrived for their preparation session. "This establishes a pattern," James said, making notes. "Graves will try to paint Vanessa as a victim, but her history suggests calculated behavior." "What else should we expect from Graves?" Robert asked. "He'll try to provoke an emotional response from you during your deposition. He wants you to appear unstable or angry." James adjusted his glasses. "We need to practice keeping your composure when he asks provocative questions." For the next 2 hours, James role-played as Elliot Graves, asking increasingly hostile questions. "So, Mr. Williams, you routinely use your wealth to manipulate people, don't you?" "No," Robert replied calmly. "I built my company to help people with disabilities access technology. Yet you used your adopted daughters as pawns in a scheme against your wife. Wasn't that manipulation?" Robert took a deep breath before answering. "I created a scenario to determine if my wife posed a danger to my children. Her response, abandoning 3 disabled 8-year-olds on a deserted street, confirmed my concerns." Meanwhile, Marcus was meeting with former colleagues of Vanessa from her modeling days. In a coffee shop in downtown Boston, he sat across from Jessica Turner, who had shared apartments with Vanessa in New York. "Vanessa always targeted rich men," Jessica explained. "She had a whole system. Charity galas were her favorite hunting grounds, because that's where the wealthy try to look generous." "Did she ever discuss her views on children?" Marcus asked. Jessica nodded. "She hated kids. Said they ruined women's bodies and lives. When she found out Robert had 3 disabled daughters, we were all shocked she pursued him." "Did she say why?" She said, and I quote, "His billions make the wheelchair brats worth tolerating." I stopped speaking to her after that comment. Back at the mansion, Diana was interviewing the driver who had taken Vanessa to her sister's apartment after being escorted from the property. "She was on the phone the entire ride," the driver, Michael Perez, explained, "yelling about how she never wanted those crippled brats and was just sticking it out to clear the prenup time frame." "Would you be willing to testify to what you heard?" Diana asked. "Absolutely. The way she talked about those children made me sick." That evening, Robert helped the girls set up their video diary project in the family room. "What should we talk about first?" Emma asked, sitting before the camera. "Maybe what we want people to know about us," Sophie suggested. Robert started the recording and stepped back. Sophie spoke first, always the most outspoken. "Hi, I'm Sophie Williams. I'm 8 years old, I like space, chocolate ice cream, and mystery books. I don't like when people talk to my dad instead of me when they want to ask me a question." Emma went next. I'm Emma Williams. I'm 8 years old too. We're triplets. I like math and computers and figuring out how things work. I don't like when people feel sorry for me because I use a wheelchair." Lily hesitated, then wheeled herself forward. In a whisper, she said, "I'm Lily Williams. I like drawing and animals. I don't like being scared." It was the most she had spoken since the abandonment. Robert felt his eyes fill with tears. After the girls went to bed, the crisis team gathered again to review their progress. "We've established a clear pattern of behavior for Vanessa," Diana reported. "Name change, sealed juvenile record, history of targeting wealthy men, and documented negative statements about the girls prior to the test. The driver's testimony is particularly valuable," James added. "It proves Vanessa's abandonment wasn't a momentary lapse caused by Robert's test, but consistent with her true feelings. Public opinion has shifted significantly in your favor," Olivia noted, showing social media metrics. "The hashtag supporting your family has 3 times more engagement than anti-Robert tags." Marcus looked troubled. "But Elliot Graves doesn't care about public opinion. He cares about winning at all costs." "What's his angle likely to be?" Robert asked. "He'll try to shift focus from Vanessa's abandonment to your decision to test her using the girls," James explained. "He'll paint you as manipulative and controlling." Diana's phone buzzed. She read the message, then looked up with concern. "We may have a problem. Graves has subpoenaed Dr. Rachel Morgan." "My daughter's therapist? Why?" Robert demanded. "He's claiming her therapy notes might show the girls were already afraid of you before the incident. It's a fishing expedition, but it could frighten the girls to know their private sessions are being examined." Robert's jaw tightened. "Can we block the subpoena?" "We can try," James said. "But Graves is clever. He knows involving the girls' therapy will upset you, which might make you more likely to settle." Robert shook his head firmly. "I won't be manipulated by threats, and I won't allow him to use my daughter's trauma as a legal weapon." As the meeting ended, Diana received another message. "Sir, we found something else. The driver who overheard Vanessa's call recorded it on his dash cam. He didn't realize it until today when he was reviewing footage for another matter." "He recorded her?" Robert asked, hope rising in his voice. "Yes. We have audio of Vanessa explicitly stating she never wanted the girls and was only in the marriage for money." Diana smiled for the first time in days. "Sir, this might be the evidence that ends Graves's case before it truly begins." The morning of the court hearing arrived with a pale winter sun. Robert checked his appearance one last time in the mirror. Dark blue suit, light blue tie, nothing flashy or intimidating. Today would determine everything. "You look very handsome, Dad," Emma said from the doorway of his bedroom. Robert turned and smiled. "Thank you, sweetheart. Are you okay with Mrs. Winters staying with you today?" "Yes. She promised to make cookies and help us with our video diary." "Good." Robert knelt to her level. "I'll be back tonight, and hopefully with this whole thing finished." In the kitchen, he found Sophie explaining something to Mrs. Winters, while Lily quietly ate her breakfast. "Remember," Robert told Mrs. Winters, "extra security is outside. Don't answer the door or phone. Diana's team will handle everything." "We'll be fine," Mrs. Winters assured him. "The girls and I have a full day planned." Sophie wheeled herself to Robert. "Are you going to see Vanessa today?" "Yes, in court." "Tell her we're not broken," Sophie said firmly. "We're just different." Robert kissed the top of her head. "I will." As he headed for the door, Lily suddenly spoke. "Dad?" He turned, still surprised to hear her voice after so many days of silence. "You'll come back?" she asked, her eyes wide with worry. "Always," he promised. Outside, Marcus waited in a black SUV. Diana and James were already inside. "Everything ready?" Robert asked as he climbed in. James nodded. "We have all the evidence prepared, including the dash cam audio. Judge Sandra Martinez is presiding. She's known for being fair but tough." Diana looked up from her tablet. Media found out about the court date. There are reporters outside the courthouse. "We'll use the secure entrance," Marcus said, pulling away from the mansion. The drive to Boston's downtown courthouse took 45 minutes. As they approached, Robert saw the crowd of reporters and cameras clustered around the main entrance. "Just as we expected," Diana said. "Security is waiting at the back entrance." Inside the courthouse, Robert and his team were escorted to a small conference room to wait. At precisely 10 o'clock, a court officer appeared. "They're ready for you, Mr. Williams." The courtroom was smaller than Robert had imagined. As he entered with James beside him, he saw her immediately, Vanessa sitting at a table with Elliot Graves. She looked completely different from the glamorous woman who had lived in his home. Her hair was pulled back simply, she wore minimal makeup, and her navy dress was modest and conservative. Everything about her appearance was designed to look vulnerable and victimized. For a moment, their eyes met. Hers were cold, despite her outward appearance of fragility. Judge Sandra Martinez entered, and everyone stood. She was in her 60s with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Be seated," she said crisply. "Williams versus Carter Williams. Divorce proceedings." She looked at both parties. "I've reviewed the initial filings. Let's begin with opening statements." Elliot Graves stood. He was tall and impeccably dressed in an expensive suit. "Your Honor, this case is about manipulation and control. My client, Vanessa Carter Williams, was subjected to a cruel and calculated test by her husband, a man whose billions of dollars give him the power to orchestrate elaborate deceptions. He used their children as pawns in his game, placing them in danger to create a scenario where my client would appear to be the villain." James Whitman stood next. "Your Honor, this case is about protecting 3 vulnerable children from someone who saw them as burdens. Mr. Williams overheard his wife express her intention to send his adopted daughters away to boarding school. To determine if this was her true character, he created a controlled scenario to see how she would respond to financial hardship. Her choice, to abandon 3 disabled children on a deserted street, revealed her true nature." Judge Martinez nodded. "Mr. Graves, you filed a motion to exclude the video recording of the alleged abandonment, claiming it was obtained through manipulation and coercion." "Yes, Your Honor," Graves replied. "My client was under extreme duress, believing her family had lost everything. This wasn't a fair test of character, but a trap." "Mr. Whitman, your response?" "Your Honor, Mrs. Carter Williams had multiple choices that day. She could have taken the girls to the community center address Mr. Williams provided. She could have called Mr. Williams when she felt overwhelmed. Instead, she chose to leave 3 disabled 8-year-old children alone on a deserted street, telling them they were not her problem anymore. That choice was entirely hers." Judge Martinez considered both arguments. "I'll review the video in chambers before ruling on its admissibility." For 20 minutes, the courtroom waited in tense silence. When the judge returned, her expression was severe. "I've reviewed the video," she said. "While I have concerns about how this situation was created, the recording itself is admissible. Mrs. Carter Williams had agency in her actions. The motion to exclude is denied." Elliot Graves looked momentarily frustrated before regaining his composed expression. The proceedings continued with Robert called to testify first. As James had predicted, Graves's questioning was designed to provoke an emotional response. "Mr. Williams, do you typically use your wealth and power to manipulate those around you?" Graves asked. "No," Robert answered calmly. "I built my company to create accessibility software for people with disabilities." "Yet you manipulated your wife with an elaborate lie about financial ruin. Is that correct?" "I created a scenario to determine if my wife posed a danger to my children after overhearing her express her desire to send them away." Graves paced before him. "Weren't you simply looking for an excuse to discard a younger wife? Perhaps you grew tired of her?" Robert maintained his composure. "No, I was concerned solely with my daughter's well-being." For nearly an hour, Graves continued his aggressive questioning. Robert remained calm and focused, never raising his voice or showing anger despite the increasingly provocative questions. When Vanessa took the stand, she played her part perfectly, the beautiful young woman victimized by a controlling billionaire. "He told me we had lost everything," she said tearfully, "that we were bankrupt. I was in shock, not thinking clearly." "Why did you leave the children on that street?" James asked during cross-examination. "I was confused, overwhelmed. Robert had controlled everything in our lives, and suddenly he was saying it was all gone." Her voice trembled. "I wasn't myself that day." James approached with a tablet. "Mrs. Carter Williams, 6 weeks before this incident, you searched online for fastest way to divorce a wealthy spouse and child abandonment laws in Massachusetts. Can you explain why?" Vanessa's eyes widened slightly. "I don't recall those searches." "We have your internet history," James said, showing her the evidence. "You also had 3 phone consultations with divorce attorney Blake Thompson before the incident occurred." Vanessa glanced at Elliot Graves, who looked surprised by this revelation. "Those were unrelated searches," she stammered. "You also changed your name from Veronica Cartwright when you were 18. Was that after you were involved in a scheme to defraud an elderly neighbor in Connecticut?" "Objection!" Graves shouted. "Juvenile records are sealed." "Your Honor, this establishes a pattern of behavior relevant to this case," James argued. "I'll allow it," Judge Martinez ruled. "The witness will answer." Vanessa's perfect mask began to crack. "That was a misunderstanding. I changed my name for my modeling career." James continued methodically, presenting each piece of evidence. The former roommate's testimony about Vanessa targeting wealthy men, her documented complaints about the triplets, the internet searches predating Robert's test. Finally, James held up a small device. "Your Honor, we have audio evidence recorded on a taxi driver's dash cam the day Mrs. Carter Williams was escorted from the Williams residence." "Objection!" Graves shouted again. "We haven't been provided this evidence." "It was discovered yesterday," James explained. "We notified opposing counsel first thing this morning." Judge Martinez nodded. "I'll allow it. Play the recording." The courtroom fell silent as Vanessa's voice filled the room. "Of course I never wanted those crippled brats. I just needed to stick it out long enough to get the prenup time frame cleared. 3 wheelchair kids, please. I married Robert, not a children's hospital ward." Vanessa's face drained of color. Graves whispered urgently to her, but she seemed beyond hearing him. "Mrs. Carter Williams," James asked, "is that your voice on the recording?" Something in Vanessa finally snapped. "Yes, fine. They were never supposed to be my responsibility. I married Robert, not his charity project." The courtroom fell silent. Judge Martinez's expression hardened as she witnessed Vanessa's true character revealed. "Your Honor," Graves began, "my client is clearly under extreme stress." "Be quiet, Mr. Graves," Judge Martinez interrupted. She looked directly at Vanessa. "In my 26 years on the bench, I have rarely seen such calculated cruelty toward children, particularly vulnerable children." After a short recess, Judge Martinez delivered her ruling. This court grants the divorce petition filed by Robert Williams on grounds of abandonment and cruelty. Due to Mrs. Carter Williams's actions toward the minor children and evidence of entering the marriage fraudulently, the prenuptial agreement is upheld in full. No financial settlement will be awarded to the defendant. As they left the courtroom, a reporter shouted a question that stopped Robert in his tracks. "Mr. Williams, how will you help your daughters trust again after everything they've been through?" Robert paused, considering the question carefully. The legal battle was over, but the real work, helping his daughters heal, was just beginning. "They need time, honesty, and unconditional love," Robert answered the reporter. "Now please excuse me, my daughters are waiting." The drive home felt different. lighter somehow, as if a dark cloud had lifted. Robert was eager to tell the girls that the legal battle was over, but he knew their journey toward healing was just beginning. "We won completely," Marcus said, reviewing the judge's decision on his tablet. "Vanessa gets nothing, and the prenup is upheld." "The money doesn't matter," Robert replied. "I just want to help my daughters recover from this." When Robert arrived home, the girls were in the sunroom with Mrs. Winters. They looked up expectantly as he entered. "Is it over?" Sophie asked. Robert nodded. "Yes, Vanessa won't be coming back and she can't hurt us anymore." Emma studied his face carefully. "Did the judge believe you or her?" "The judge heard all the evidence and saw the truth," Robert explained, sitting down with them. "Now we can focus on moving forward." That evening, after the girls were asleep, Robert called Dr. Morgan to discuss increasing their therapy sessions. "They need specialized approaches," Dr. Morgan suggested. "Each girl is processing this trauma differently." "Tell me what to do," Robert said, "whatever they need." The next morning, Robert met with Dr. Morgan at the mansion to develop a plan for each girl. "For Emma, who processes things analytically, I suggest a trust assessment system," Dr. Morgan explained. "It's a chart where she can categorize people and understand her feelings about them." "And for Lily?" Robert asked, concerned about his quietest daughter. "Art therapy has been helping. Let's expand that program. Her drawings are still dark, but I'm seeing small changes. The chaos is becoming more organized." "What about Sophie?" Dr. Morgan smiled. "She mentioned wanting to make videos. Let's channel her energy into advocacy. She can help create educational materials about disability for other children." "I want to change the house too," Robert decided. "Remove all traces of Vanessa. Let the girls help redesign their spaces." Over the next few days, Robert put these plans into motion. Contractors came to remove the decorating changes Vanessa had made. The girls helped select new colors and furniture for their rooms. Emma worked diligently on her trust assessment chart with Dr. Morgan. She had categories like always trustworthy, which included Robert, Mrs. Winters, and her sisters. Usually trustworthy, doctors, teachers, and needs more information, new people. "This helps me understand who is safe," Emma explained to Robert one afternoon. Lily spent hours in art therapy. Her early drawings after the abandonment had been chaotic, dark scribbles surrounding 3 small figures. Gradually, her pictures began to include more structure and occasionally spots of color. "Look," Dr. Morgan pointed out to Robert, "see how the protective figure, you, is larger in each drawing, and there's a boundary around the family now. That's progress." Sophie embraced her role creating educational materials with enthusiasm. She recorded videos explaining how her wheelchair worked and what daily activities were like. "Kids are afraid of what they don't understand," Sophie told Robert. "If they see how we live, maybe they won't stare so much." One significant change came when Mrs. Winters accepted Robert's offer to move into the guest house permanently. "The girls need stability," Robert said when he made the offer. "They adore you, and having you here full-time would help them feel secure." Mrs. Winters smiled. "I've been thinking of selling my condo anyway. It's too many stairs for these old knees." The girls were thrilled with the news. "Does this mean you're like our grandma now?" Sophie asked excitedly. Mrs. Winters' eyes filled with tears. "I would be honored to be your Grandma Eleanor, if that's what you'd like." Marcus also became a more consistent presence, moving his office to the east wing of the mansion. "It's more practical," he insisted when Robert thanked him. "This way I can help with the girls when you need to work." The girls quickly began calling him Uncle Marcus, creating the extended family Robert never had. Growing up, small signs of healing emerged. During the 3rd week after the court case, Lily spoke her first complete sentence in therapy. "I feel safe now," she said quietly while working on a colorful drawing of the mansion. Dr. Morgan texted Robert immediately. "Breakthrough with Lily today. Come see." When Robert arrived at the therapy room, Lily showed him her drawing. The mansion was surrounded by bright yellow, the first truly bright color she'd used since the abandonment. "This is beautiful, Lily," Robert said, kneeling beside her wheelchair. "Can you tell me about it?" "It's home," Lily said softly. "No more monsters." Emma's progress showed in different ways. She stopped checking on her sisters multiple times throughout the night, a habit she'd developed after the abandonment. "I slept all night," she announced proudly at breakfast one morning. "I didn't wake up scared even once." Sophie, always the most resilient, began talking about making friends again. "There's a new girl in our online class," she told Robert. "Her name is Olivia. She likes space books too. Can she come over sometime?" "Of course," Robert said, thrilled by this sign of Sophie's willingness to trust again. A truly significant moment came during a rainy afternoon 6 weeks after the court case. Robert was working in his office when he heard something he hadn't heard in far too long. Laughter. Genuine, carefree laughter from all 3 girls. He quietly walked to the family room doorway and watched. The triplets had created an elaborate game involving their wheelchairs and stuffed animals. They were racing around the room, giggling as they navigated an obstacle course of pillows. For several minutes, Robert simply observed, his heart full. These were not the frightened, traumatized children from weeks ago. They were gradually becoming themselves again, resilient, creative, joyful. That evening, as Robert tucked them into their beds, they now slept in their own rooms again, though they still liked the doors between their rooms left open. Emma asked a question. "Dad, are you absolutely sure Vanessa can never come back?" "Yes," Robert said firmly. "The divorce is final. She has no legal right to be in our home or our lives." All 3 girls visibly relaxed at this confirmation. "Dad," Lily whispered as Robert was about to turn out her light. "Yes, sweetheart? Thank you for saving us that day." Robert gently kissed her forehead. "I will always come for you. Always." Later that night, Robert sat in his office reviewing the progress reports Dr. Morgan had prepared. Each girl was healing at her own pace, but all were moving forward. The terrible day of abandonment was becoming a memory rather than a constant presence. His phone buzzed with a message from Diana. "Urgent news about Vanessa you need to see immediately." Robert opened the message to find a link to a small blog interview Vanessa was claiming she was writing a tell-all book about their marriage, promising to reveal Robert's controlling behavior and manipulation. A month ago, this news would have sent Robert into crisis mode. Tonight, he simply closed the message and looked at the framed photo on his desk. A new family portrait with the girls, Mrs. Winters, and Marcus. Vanessa's power to hurt them had diminished. They had grown stronger through their ordeal. The family had begun to heal, and no book of lies could change that truth. 1 year later, Robert sat in his office reviewing the final plans for the Williams Family Foundation Gala. Outside, spring flowers bloomed in the garden where the triplets were playing. Their laughter drifted through the open window, a sound that never failed to warm his heart. Diana knocked on his door. "Remember Vanessa's tell-all book she threatened to write?" "Vaguely," Robert said, glancing up from his papers. "What happened with that?" "It never materialized. The publisher dropped it after fact-checking some of her claims." Diana smiled. "Her 15 minutes of fame are officially over." Robert nodded, unsurprised. "The girls haven't mentioned her name in months." "They've come so far," Diana agreed. "It's remarkable." Indeed, the changes in the triplets over the past year had been extraordinary. The girls, now 9 years old, had grown in confidence and happiness with each passing month. Lily, once so silent after the trauma, now spoke regularly, though still more quietly than her sisters. Just yesterday, she had read an entire story aloud during homework time, her voice growing stronger with each page. In the garden, the sound of Lily's voice carried through the window. "Sophie, that's not how the rules work." "Yes, it is," Sophie replied, laughing. "I made the rules, so I know." Robert smiled at their playful argument. Sophie remained the most outspoken triplet, but she had channeled her bold personality into advocacy. Last month, she had given a presentation to her class about disability awareness that had earned her a standing ovation. Emma had discovered a new passion: computer programming. Robert had begun teaching her to code, and she showed remarkable aptitude for it. They were currently working together on a prototype for a new adaptive technology that would help wheelchair users navigate difficult terrain. "Dad!" Emma called, wheeling herself into the office. "I solved that coding problem. I used a different function like you suggested." "That's fantastic," Robert said, turning his computer screen toward her. "Show me." Emma expertly typed on the keyboard, her face serious with concentration. "See? Now the program adjusts automatically for different weights. This is brilliant work, Emma. You're a natural programmer." Emma beamed with pride. "Do you think we can show it at the Foundation Gala tomorrow?" "Absolutely," Robert agreed. "People need to see what you've created." The Williams Family Foundation had been Robert's way of transforming their painful experience into something meaningful. After careful consideration and family therapy, he had established the foundation 6 months ago. Its mission was supporting children with disabilities and preventing abandonment. The foundation funded accessible homes for families with disabled children and provided training for adoptive parents of children with special needs. The triplets took active roles in the foundation, helping select recipient families and appearing in educational videos. Their involvement was always carefully balanced with their well-being and privacy. Mrs. Winters, now affectionately called Grandma Eleanor by everyone, appeared in the doorway with Sophie and Lily. "Lunch is ready," she announced. "I made your favorite sandwiches." "With the crusts cut off?" Lily asked hopefully. "Of course," Grandma Eleanor smiled. "Would I forget something so important?" As they gathered around the kitchen table, Marcus joined them, coming from his office in the East Wing. "How are my favorite programmers?" he asked, ruffling Emma's hair gently. "We fixed the terrain adjustment function," Emma reported proudly. "Uncle Marcus, are you speaking at the gala tomorrow?" Sophie asked. "Just briefly," Marcus replied. "Your dad is the main speaker." Sophie looked thoughtful. "I want to speak too." Robert raised his eyebrows. "You do?" "That's a big room full of people." "I know what I want to say," Sophie insisted. "It's important." "What is it?" Lily asked her sister. "It's a surprise," Sophie replied, "but it's about our family." After lunch, Robert met with Dr. Morgan for what had become a monthly check-in rather than the intensive therapy sessions of the past year. "The girls are thriving," Dr. Morgan observed. "Their resilience continues to amaze me." "They still have moments," Robert admitted. "Nightmares, sometimes Emma still makes her trust charts for new people." "That's perfectly normal," Dr. Morgan assured him. "Trauma leaves imprints, but they've developed healthy ways to manage those feelings." "I worry about the gala tomorrow," Robert confessed. "It's very public. What if it's too much for them?" "They've practiced with smaller events. They have you and their support system. And remember, this foundation was partly their idea. They want to help other children." The next evening, the grand ballroom of the Boston Harbor Hotel glowed with elegant lighting. Over 300 guests in formal attire mingled, many of them donors to the new foundation. The triplets wore matching blue dresses, their hair styled with silver clips. "Nervous?" Robert asked them as they waited to make their entrance. "A little," Emma admitted. "I'm not," Sophie declared, though she gripped her sister's hands tightly. Lily just nodded, her eyes wide as she looked at the crowd through the doorway. "Remember, you don't have to stay the whole time," Robert assured them. "Grandma Eleanor can take you home whenever you want." The event began with Robert's introduction of the Foundation's mission. He spoke about the importance of supporting families with disabled children and creating more accessible environments. "Every child deserves a loving home," he said, "and every parent of a disabled child deserves support and resources." As planned, Marcus spoke next about the Foundation's first projects: 5 fully accessible homes for families in need and a training program for adoptive parents. Then, to Robert's surprise, Sophie wheeled herself to the front of the stage. The room quieted as the small girl in the wheelchair adjusted the microphone. "My name is Sophie Williams," she began, her voice clear and strong. "My sisters Emma and Lily and I are 9 years old. We've been in wheelchairs since we were 5, when our first parents died in a car accident." The room was completely silent now. "Our dad adopted us and gave us a home. But last year, someone who was supposed to care about us left us alone on a street because we were in wheelchairs. She said we were broken." Robert felt his heart clench, but Sophie continued confidently. "But we're not broken. We're just different. And that's what I want to tell everyone tonight. Family isn't about who can walk beside you. It's about who stays beside you no matter what." The audience broke into applause, many wiping away tears. Emma and Lily wheeled forward to join their sister, and Robert enveloped all three in a gentle hug. Later that evening, as Robert helped the tired girls prepare for bed, they were still buzzing with excitement. "Dad, did you see how many people were crying?" Sophie asked as he helped her into her pajamas. "I did. Your words touched many hearts tonight." "The foundation raised lots of money, right?" Emma asked. "Mrs. Johnson told me people were making big donations." "Yes," Robert confirmed. "More than we expected. We'll be able to help many families." In Lily's room, as he tucked her blanket around her, she asked quietly, "Will we meet the children who get the new houses?" "If you'd like to," Robert said. "They would probably love to meet you." Finally, in Emma's room, as he was about to turn out the light, she asked, "Are you sure you'll never leave us?" Despite all their progress, this fear still surfaced occasionally. Robert sat on the edge of her bed. "Some people see limitations when they look at you," he said gently, "but I see the 3 bravest, smartest, most wonderful daughters a father could ask for. You're not just my family, you're my home." Emma smiled and closed her eyes. Robert checked each girl one last time before heading to his own room. The mansion that had once felt empty despite its grandeur now radiated with the warmth of genuine family love. In his office, Robert paused to look at the new family portrait hanging above his desk. Himself, the triplets, Grandma Eleanor and Uncle Marcus, all smiling together. Beside it hung a framed copy of the Foundation's mission statement written with input from all 3 girls. Family is defined not by convenience but by unconditional commitment through life's hardest tests. Their painful test had become a powerful truth, one that would now help countless other families. And as Robert turned out the light, he felt profound gratitude that from their deepest challenge had come their greatest strength. The unbreakable bond of a family defined not by blood or ability, but by love that refused to abandon. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.